2, 1.
Check it out.
Yo, what's good, everybody?
What is up, everyone?
Everyone. Welcome to the seven people that are on right now. I think coming on time is probably a shock for most of our viewers,
Right.
as they'll probably like, whoa, they actually started on time tonight.
I think last week we started about 8:30, but it is what it is. We're here in the space. That's what matters most, whether we're on time or late. We are here. Go ahead and give yourself a shout out in the comments so that we can shout you out.
That's where we go.
And I already see Anderson is in the comment section. Yo, what's good?
Yeah, what's going
in the
on?
hood. Hoping all is well with you, Anderson, and the fam, as well as everyone else that's watching. We are delighted that you are spending a little bit of time here with us in the space. We know that in the beginning we keep it buck with giving our shout outs, but also letting you guys know how our week was. We want to pose the question to you as we pose it to each other. How was your week? How was your week? This is the second week in the month of March. So yeah, how was all of your week? I'm about to say y'all's week, but how was your week?
My week was wonderful. It was good. The girls were home with us all week.
Spring break
Out
here in Texas.
Yep. Out here in Texas, we got spring break, so that was good.
Yeah, that felt really good.
Yeah, our kids are pretty cool. They're pretty chill.
Yeah. They are pretty chill. Like, we were just talking about how, like, I think you made the comment. Jamie was just like, yeah, the girls just, like, there's no fighting. We don't hear yelling or screaming. Thank God.
They ain't going
Praise
after
God.
each other. They are just some chill
they chill.
people.
They chill like their parents for the most part. What's up, Sister Morgan? Shout out to you.
Get your horns.
Yes, absolutely. It's so good to see you. It's been a while since we've seen you in the comments, so it's definitely good that you are in the space with us on tonight. So I don't know if some of you may or may not know, we are officially parents of a teenager. So that has been a very that has been great. It's been great. I think oftentimes I remember anticipating this moment to be scary and to be like, oh my gosh, do I have what it takes, and to kind of navigate this space with her. But honestly, we're good.
Yeah. So Anderson says the kids love the new year style and color.
Okay. Thank you. You know me, I always gotta change it up every now and again. Gotta keep it fresh. But yeah, we are parents of a teenager, and I don't think we've quite started experiencing what a lot of people say, like the attitudes, whatever. Like it's not as.
I think there's some personality. There's lots of personality.
True.
But I don't know if we're experiencing something new, because I personally feel like Caitlin has always had spunk and personality from since she was
It's true.
toddler. We always see like just dramatic ways of expression. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something catching us by surprise, but we're in the teenage years. So for shout out to the parents that have raised teenagers that are now adults.
Yes.
Please, we would take any advice. It's interesting
Facts.
how we have a teenager, and we were talking to these parents that have a toddler about, bed and getting them to sleep in their own bed. And it's wild to me how far removed we are from that
Yep.
we were there. But it felt like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it does definitely feel like we experienced all the things, baby, toddler stage, but we're here we are. Parents of a teenager and a
Yep.
preteen, because
I'm
Amber's
sure-
not too far behind Caitlin. So
Yeah. And I'm sure the parents that have kids in school, in college, they probably like, please, y'all talking about.
right,
And then
teenagers.
then you got the ones that have adults that are working,
Mercy,
that are
Jesus.
got their own lives. So
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway,
we coming on up.
we coming on up. So last week, just giving you guys a recap. Last week's conversation was actually very riveting, to say the least. I feel like we talked about Ty Tribbett's comment regarding the church and how he said it's whack. And then we kind of just talked through that. So that was a pretty interesting conversation. I think Jaime led that conversation really well. I think you did an amazing job leading that conversation as usual.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, just take it. Because
I'm just saying thank you.
No. It seems as though like you were about to like be like,
No, I was just saying. I'm just saying thank you. I'm not even going there.
Cool beans.
I'm
I
just
appreciate
saying,
it. Good.
Thank you.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
I'm saving it for later.
Good. I'm glad. Jimmy, what's up, Jimmy? Jimmy's saying, enjoy the parenting journey. Will do. Crystal!
Shout out to Crystal.
Sorry, everyone.
Doing
I'm
big things.
tad biased.
As always, as usual.
That's my girl right there, yo. Like, for real.
Right.
Like, ugh.
Crystal,
Okay.
drop what you're doing in the chat. Anybody, if y'all doing something dope, don't hesitate to drop it in the chat, advertise, and let people know what you got going on. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're talking about the church and all the things. And so this week, bop, yes. I'm sorry, I'm still talking to Crystal.
Y'all can call each other.
I know. It's just great to see her in this space. That's all. Anywho. So that's what we talked about. So many things happened in the news. We have TikTok, the issue with TikTok with the ban, with them trying to ban it. I'm not sure where it is where we are in the process as yet, but that's something that's been kind of headlining in the news. Anything else?
New York is still wild.
I mean, that goes without saying. New York
People
is
getting shot.
New York will still be New York.
We were thinking about responding to Dr. Mason's statement on the Perrys about the Adventist Church.
Yeah, but
and
maybe we'll leave that for maybe next week.
Yeah. So I was saying we were thinking about
okay.
thinking about
My bad.
responding to that. What he said about us being a cult. And but yeah, we'll probably save that for next week because we just talked about church stuff last week, so we don't want to continue with church stuff this week.
We want to break it up. We want to break it up, show a little bit of I don't know,
diversity.
Yeah, try to diversify the conversations that we want to have. I see Sandrea. What's up, Sandrea? She says, "Happy Sabbath" to one of my favorite couples. Aww.
The love is real.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So we are going to get right on this conversation. So, okay. So Crystal is in the chat.
Oh,
listen, I could be on this girl for a long time.
We made the docuseries
Into the Freedom docu featuring this power couple, Jaime and Carlene. Awesome. That's right. So Loving You Into Freedom is a, what is it? What is it, Crystal?
It's a docuseries.
It's a docuseries, right? I'm sorry.
I think it talks about the horrors of incarceration, the stories that we don't know about, how it affects all of us, even if you don't have somebody that you're directly connected to that has been incarcerated. But I also think it just talks about how we can free how people who have been formerly incarcerated can still walk in the path of freedom, enjoy life, give back to humanity and society, and not just write them off. But I know Crystal will do a better job at talking about it than I would.
Yeah.
But just I would love to see how we looked in the docuseries.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
but we're super excited. Can't wait for that to drop, for that to come out. So everyone, make sure that you keep your ears and eyes open for Crystal's docuseries that's going to start soon. And just so proud of you, sis. Always,
right.
always, always, always.
Luke 4:18, set the captives free.
Yes, yes. And so our topic tonight is about to say loving you into freedom. That would have been dope, right, Crystal?
Well, when the docuseries drops, if Crystal wants to come on the show to talk about it,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
access granted.
Yes, absolutely. So Love is Blind. So you all may or may not know that there is a Netflix series currently on that is called Love is Blind.
They know.
And you said they know. Some people may not.
They know.
But anyway.
Our audience knows.
So Love is Blind is a series. I believe it's this was the sixth season, that just ended. And so many things. I think every season there is just even more of the same and also more craziness that transpires in this show. And so we were just like, thinking after watching the season and also the reunion that just dropped on the 13th, we're just like asking the question truly, like, is love truly blind? And so that's what we kind of want to talk about tonight rather. Is love truly blind? Is love blind? I'm going to pose it to you guys first, what your thoughts are. And then we're going to kind of talk through like what our thoughts are regarding is love truly blind? Because if you have watched the series, you definitely have seen, you've seen love come out of the experiment, but you've also seen heartbreaks. You've also seen foolishness as a result of the experiment. And so it's like, okay, does this thing really work? And so that is what we are trying to figure out. Is love truly blind? So no one's commenting just yet. So let's just go ahead and talk through what that is, that question. So you want to go first in terms of like understanding, is love truly blind?
No, I say no.
Okay,
no.
Elaborate. So Jamie's team, love is not blind.
I say it can be blinding, but I don't think it's blind.
Okay, elaborate. Tell us a little bit more.
I think that when you fall in love with somebody or you believe you're in love with somebody, that you can be blinded by love and not see certain things that you're supposed to see, or certain red flags that are there that you ignore it, so you don't look at it. But is love truly blind? I think it should be, but I don't think it is. I honestly don't. I think that I think it can be. I don't know. I really don't. To be honest, I don't really know. This is really not. As you can see, this is like me on a ice skating rink. I'm like lost.
So let's go to what Miguel says. If you want to post a comment on the screen, he says there's a science to love. I don't think it is blind. I think our desire for love can be blinding. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's right. I think Miguel explained what I was trying to explain much more eloquently.
Yeah, I'm team love can be blinded. Like you can't be blinded by love, where you start to think less with your head and more with your heart. Like you can be blinded by being infatuated with love, or being so like you're so enamored with that person, or enamored with being in a relationship, right? Like you're starting out and you're just like so excited, you truly can miss out, I think, on some red flags, because all you're doing is you're kind of you're learning about the person. You just kind of want to constantly be engaged with that person. And if that person, if you do see something is off, you probably will shove it off and say, it's nothing. I'm sure that it's nothing, right? But it can potentially be something greater and something bigger. So that's why I think that love is blind.
Well, then should love be blind? Should it be blind? Like, because you look at the show, and the show has these two people. They go to these pods, and they're connecting on a personal level, but it's non-visual, right? It's just verbal, and they're falling in love with what they're saying verbally. So it's loving beyond looks,
right?
Or it's being attracted to somebody beyond looks. You're just attracted to who they are. But at the same time, too, right? You don't even know, like when I'm watching the show, I don't even know if that person's telling the truth.
That's right. You really don't have a way of verifying what it is that they're saying. I mean, if I'm being honest, falling in love, I don't know how long the experiment is for. I don't know. I think it's just a few weeks. But to go from not knowing this person to speaking with them probably hours per day for, let's say, 3 to 4 weeks, I don't know if you can truly fall in love with someone in that time frame.
I think the show is proving the point that love is not blind. And I say that I think the show is proving the point that love is not blind in some areas, some cases. Because when they see each other for the first time, and then when they have to move in with each other, some couples make it, some couples don't. When the blinders are taken off. When they see each other, we see some of them do not act the same way because they're like, when they see how the person looks, and it's kind of like, and then they go ahead and try. And then when they go move in together and all that stuff, you start seeing this. It's different. Like, I'll never forget the first season that I watched with your boy and how he was treating the black girl, the black couple.
Yeah, that was horrible. I remember. I don't even want to speak his name.
Yeah, that dude. And then there were some other ones too, right? That were just like, the blindness came off, I guess, or whatever. And
the blinders. I think for them, I think the reason why they do it like that, where they are not able to see the person, it's because they don't want you to be led by looks, by how the person looks, basically, right? So it is solely off of connection. It's solely off of conversation, right? And so I feel that oftentimes the attraction is what carries the I don't know. Then the first stages is like the attraction is there, and so you're kind of moving, and then hopefully the conversation comes after. But sometimes the conversation doesn't come. You just realize that you are only attracted to this person, and that's that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing what you're saying. I think I'm assuming that for most people, it is hard to be in love with somebody that you're not physically attracted to. I think that's a part of being in a relationship with someone. You are physically attracted to them. You like the way they look. You like the way they dress. And for some people, now this is the question, is it shallow if somebody says, I'm not really feeling you because of the way you dress? Even though they got a great character, a great personality, a great all of that, is it shallow to be like, well, look, I don't know if I can walk down the street with you because you straight wearing plaid shirt with track pants, right? Like you don't even care about how you look.
Yeah, it's so much. It's so layered, I think. Crystal says, I never watched the show, but I feel like you can fall in love in a short period of time. Sometimes it's like a magnetism that can cloud in some way, causing people to fall out of love the deeper they may see them. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, it does. I think that you have to question, like, is it really, like what Anderson is posing, is it really love if you are not attracted to that person.
Yeah, then whatever it is that they have, you love that more than the attraction part. Like, I think that if the person just has a great personality, you feel comfortable around that person is, like, you can be you don't have to fake it, and they may not be the most attractive person on earth, but that's still, though, it's still problematic, right? It's still problematic, because even if I say they're not the most attractive person on earth, to that person, they probably are. Like, all of their personality characteristics and traits and things like that, they probably are, and they can love, right? They can feel like they are strongly committed to this, and they want a future with that. They can't see themselves without the person. But I don't think it's fair to say to somebody that is concerned about the way somebody looks that's not important. I think looks are important to you. To me,
To
yes,
you, it's
to me.
important, but for someone else, it may not be as important, right? It may be their chemistry, how they interact, may be what is more important to them. And everyone is varied, right? Because beauty is varied. What is beautiful to me may not be beautiful to you. What is ugly to you may not be ugly to me. So I think there are so many variables. And I think sometimes when we think about love, as Crystal's asking the question, like, what is love? It's complicated, right? It's something that I don't think there's like one singular way of expressing what love is. There are characteristics that you kind of, or what is it? Like, I guess characteristics to like identify what love is, what it looks like. We know what it's not, right? So what does it look like? But to kind of say, because the love that Jaime and I have for each other, if we were supposed to take that very same love and transfer it to somewhere else, it won't be the same. It will be completely different, because I think personalities, dynamics, chemistry, all those things kind of bring it all together to make it what it is.
And I think that love can make something or someone attractive, right? And I think it's most important is what you're looking for and what you want. I wonder if attractiveness is more a deal breaker for men than it is for women. Because I have seen some sisters with some beautiful sisters, and you look at the brother that they with, and you be like, for real? Like, for example,
Mercy.
Jermaine Dupri and Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson at one point in time, and even to this day, is probably still one of the most beautiful women on, in pop music and for her age. Jermaine Dupri, on the other hand, is not. He looked like you have
to say he looks like something. He's just not the most attractive person to you.
All right.
Yeah.
And when we saw them together, we were just like, for real? Like, that's all it took. Like, because there's some women that are so beautiful, and some brothers are looking at it like, man, I ain't even going to attempt, right? But here's the other thing too, right? Jermaine Dupri probably had ultimate swagger and approached Janet, and she connected, and to him, I guess he was attractive.
Yeah.
And they had a nice little run together, and then they broke up.
Because I think love sometimes doesn't make sense, right? Like, you look at that and you be like, yo, that does not make sense. Logically, it doesn't make sense to you, or it doesn't make sense to me. But I feel like it's just something that happens that sometimes you really cannot put words together to express or to explain what it is, right? And
I'm laughing at y'all straight quoting all the R&B songs tonight. Courtney, but what is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
Baby, don't hurt me no more.
Right. And then Crystal says that because people turn real unattractive after you fall out of love with them.
Absolutely. You be looking at them and be like,
And that could be the most handsome, most beautiful woman that once they do something ugly, they become ugly to you.
They become ugly to you. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel that attraction is important. If it is important to you, it's important. If personality is important to you, then that's what is important to you, right? I don't think that I could look at someone and say, oh my gosh, like I could tell that they're not in love or they're not, because, they may not be attractive to me, but, it works for them.
No, real talk. I agree with Courtney. Personality can make someone attractive and a bad attitude can make someone ugly.
Very true. Because you can have like the prettiest person or the most handsome person.
You are annoying and you got a nasty attitude. You are ugly.
Yeah, you become ugly real quick. Like, yo, you are ugly. You are ugly real quick. Crystal asks, do you believe you can fall in love with someone's spirit? I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think you can fall in with who they embody, like who they are, like at their core. I definitely think that you can fall in love with someone's spirit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going back to the question are men, and I would love to see like if there's a survey that's studying it, are men more caught up in looks versus women? Is that a deal breaker? Because like I'll hear some women say like, oh yeah, he's handsome, he's cut up, he's muscular, all that, but I don't like that. I don't like him. Even just a picture. Mm-hmm. Then there's the flip side, right? Brothers probably might see a lady and she's beautiful, everything, and then when they start talking to her, they may approach on that, and then when they start talking to her, they're like, you know what? I'm good. She crazy.
Yeah, because again, I think that attraction piece is quick, right? It's almost like it's instant. Like you see that attraction and you're just like, yeah, I really like how that person look. I'm attracted to them. Because I think there's a difference between being attracted to someone and thinking that someone is handsome or cute. Right? I think attraction goes a little bit deeper than just, oh my gosh, he's cute or she's cute. I think it goes beyond that. I think an attraction is something strong that you feel towards this person that is just, it goes beyond just, oh, I think that, oh yeah, it goes beyond that. Mm-hmm. Right? So I think when you are attracted to someone, and then they open their mouth, it is real quick for you to look at them differently, because the face, the attraction, and what it is that they're saying just does not line up. It just does not work, and that's awful. Mm-hmm.
So I think Love is Blind, the show, is a social experiment. I think the social experiment behind it is, can love truly be blind? Can you fall in love with someone just based off of their personality traits and characteristics that they explain to you behind this hidden pod? Mm-hmm. I think the real test is when the couples get together and they have to live together.
Mercy.
Because here it is, right? Like, yo, I'm in that pod, you in the other pod, I don't see you. Mm-hmm. You could be the stinkiest thing on earth.
You said stinkest.
Like you don't bathe, don't nothing.
Right. You're not talking about attitude stink.
Yeah,
You're talking about like,
I'm talking about you physically
stink.
You physically stink because I can't smell you through that wall.
Right.
And then when we meet, and I hug you and I smell your stinkness, I was like, man, you got the most beautiful character in the world, but we ain't doing this.
Right.
You
can't overlook the stank.
I ain't got no time to teach you how to bathe.
Right. Yeah. So I think that the experiment works, but again, if you are not attracted to that person, it no longer works. Right. You can try to force yourself to kind of go back to that feeling that you had when you were in those pods, but to be in the present with that person, to be living in the real world with that person, and you have to look at that face every single day. Like, there is no amount of conversation that would, in my opinion, that you would be okay with living with that or being with that person for the rest of your life.
Right. So then the experiment is basically then the results of the social experiment falls apart, because if the love is truly blind and you fell in love with that person's character and personality,
Right.
then you should be able to look beyond that fault and get with it. So I think this is where my conclusion is. Love may not be blind for everybody. Because some couples make it, right? And some couples, I guess, on that reunion, they all.
I think the couples that make it are the couples that connected in conversation, and they connected in attraction. I don't think, and you guys can, for those of you who watch the show, I don't think that there are any couples who off the bat, they were like, oh, I wasn't attracted to you. But the conversation that we've had, what we've built in the pods, it reaches far deeper than how you look. I feel like it only works when those two things align.
And I think what I've also noticed, so I didn't finish this last season. You saw some more episodes, but from what I've seen, I feel like I've also seen there's been a shift in like a shift in the behavior, how they were acting in the pods versus how they started acting when they were together. Because in the pods, it was magical. It was beautiful. Then when they had to live together, it was like, yo, I can't stand this person.
Yeah.
This person is driving me crazy. And it wasn't because of looks. It was just because of things that they were doing, like trauma and all that stuff started coming out. So it's almost like, it's like that dating period when you first meet somebody.
For all of us.
And you're like, because when you first meet somebody, you don't tell them like, oh my God, my mama left me when I was 5 years old and now I've, da 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 da. You'd
be like, run.
Yeah. You're very like, it's very nice, very cute. And then when you get real deep into it, you like, all right, this ain't working. Yes.
And I think, like, I'm thinking back, if I'm being honest, I'm thinking back on our dynamic when we first met, right? How, in terms of us continuing to stay on the track that we stayed on, I feel that there were times where I felt blinded by our love, right? Where there were things that were happening with you or things that I was seeing that was happening with you, right? That instead of tapping in and talking about it and reaching deep and talking about that particular thing, I decided to kind of overlook it because I thought, like it's not as, somehow it'll kind of level off, and which it did for the most part, but it ended up, but if we're being honest, some of those things came up like maybe about a year or two ago in our marriage, right? And so it's almost like, I think love is blinded. And you said something like, you said it's blinded until, what did you say? Like it's blinded up until a certain point, or it's not blinded until a certain point. You said something like,
I think that love can be blind I think that at a certain point it can be blind. I don't know if I said it nicely, but I think what I said was what you said, is that you can you start ignoring red flags.
Right. You start ignoring, you start looking and saying, well, and making excuses for those red flags as well, because you're so enamored, you're so caught up in love, especially, Right. Let me just leave it like that.
You did that for me because you looked beyond my faults and you saw my need.
That's Jesus. Jesus does that. Jesus sees our faults, and
that's why
Jesus does that.
That's why you were blinded.
I'm not Jesus. But okay.
But yeah, but yes, it can be blinding. It can be blinding. It can be abusive, right? It can be abusive, and
It
it
can.
can get to that point. And so then now you have to say, are you in love, or are you in just a bad psychological place that you can't protect your heart enough to say that this is not good for me? So I do think love can be blinding to red flags.
I like that, Adriana. She said you see red flags as green.
Yeah.
You become real delusional because love is that strong. Like, I feel like love is just something hard to explain. It's something hard to kind of like put in a box to say, well, wrap it and put it here. But it does definitely allow you to, I don't know, it's hard for you to sometimes see some serious red flags.
Yeah.
And you overlook it because you are so in love with love sometimes, right?
Right. Because I think sometimes you go from being a lover to a fixer, right? Where it's like, I love this person so much, so I know they're going to stop. And I know if I stay, they're going to eventually get better.
Yes.
This thing will fix itself. It will, it still has for this. So it can be delusional, as Adriana said, right? It can morph into something else. It can start out as nice, but then, and I think that's what a lot of the couples in Love is Blind, for some of, not a lot, for some of them that they discover, it's like, yo, this was wonderful during the pods, but come see me is different from come live with me.
Yeah.
And that, because that person still is who they are. But when they start living with the person and all that other stuff, it's just, I mean, like, I've seen some episodes where they almost look like they want to kill each other.
Yeah.
Like there was just one couple who was just like, she said, I can't stand the way he breathes. Like, look at how he's breathing.
Yeah. If that's your case, if that is what your reality is, just chuck the deuces and walk away.
Yeah. But I saw Tabitha, what up, Tabby Carl, where is it? She said something earlier in the chat, and that was something about intentional about being married.
I missed that comment.
Okay, she said, here it is. She said, yes, I agree. They have to connect on both levels and have genuine interest in marriage. I think there's something about that statement. I think when you have a genuine interest in being with that person, you don't look beyond the red flags, but you work at confronting them and talking about it because you're intentional about being married to that person. So I do think there's validity to that statement that when you are truly mature enough to know that this is what I want because I see something in that person that is, I don't want to use the word redeemable, but that is special, then I think that you're willing to address the red flags and work towards whatever better future you can have together.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, love, man. So many things. Okay. So Lena says, you refuse to see the red flags to the point that you lose yourself and all common sense. When that happens, is that really love?
No, it's something, it's not love. I can't call it love. Love isn't supposed to physically hurt you.
Or love doesn't feel like you're delusional. Like you're almost like, am I tripping? Am I? Like you know that your intuition, those lights are blaring, they're going off and you're ignoring it. I don't think that is, and it's consistent. It's consistently that way. And that person is very consistent in showing those red flags. I don't think that is love. And that's my opinion. Because love is not, you're not supposed to doubt I don't think you're ever supposed to. You can have a sense of doubt, right? You can be like, I wonder if. But I think at its core that you're not supposed to occupy or live in doubt. Because if there's love is truly supposed to make you feel safe. Love is supposed to really cast out those doubts as much as possible and allow you to be safe and be secure in that. If you're doubting that person or questioning that person, I don't think that is not, I don't think that's love.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
Right. I want to find another word for it, but I can't right now. But that's not the definition of what love should be between two people. Mm-hmm. Even within a family, right? If a family member is, harmful to you and making you feel a certain way about yourself and diminishing you and self-esteem is going out the window, you're not in love, you are in abuse, right? And love is not abusive. Love is supposed to lift you up.
Yeah, it's supposed to. Gregory, I've not seen you in the chat before your name, so welcome. Welcome to this space.
GB.
What? He says, love is a choice and people's choice differ in their level of maturity. We all have a different journey, which determines what things are important or not to them. As such, you can look past the physical. Even in marriage, you are making the daily choice to be with your spouse in good times and bad times. In that sense, love is not solely a feeling, which is how many people may define it.
Yeah, I
That's
think
true.
That is true, and I think in the because we change, we evolve, right? Mm-hmm. We don't look the same way we did, and I'm talking about us when we first got married.
Right, you're right about that.
Right, our bodies are different. We move. We don't look the same way. We're just looking at a picture like on Facebook 7 years ago.
Yeah,
of how much skinnier I was, right? But I still love what we have. Mm-hmm. I still love the person. Mm-hmm. But I will admit that when Carlene and I first started dating, I was physically attracted to her because I said, man, that's a beautiful young lady. And it was motivating for me to continue to talk and to learn more about her, who she is and things that she liked. And we shared similar interests and things like that. So it was a motivating factor. I'm not going to lie. It was a motivating factor. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it was the ultimate factor,
right? But
it was a motivating factor in that. But yeah, love grows as you grow. And so if your love isn't growing and you aren't growing, then you have to really ask yourself the question, what are we doing here?
Yeah. And I think the attraction piece that you mentioned, Gregory, I think that because attraction is maybe like for some people, maybe the very thing that that captures you, that reels you in, right? But what is built after that, I think that is where it's at. Right. So that in the event that, your bodies are changing, your face is changing, you're not looking the same way that you looked. Because you've built such a strong foundation that is no longer just the only thing that is luring you in or pulling you in. Now you have so many other things that you've built, so many different memories that you've established to kind of create that long lasting attraction to each other.
Yeah. And attraction can't be the only thing, because if that's the only thing that draws you to somebody, then you're going to be attracted to anything else and everything else, right?
Yeah.
You're going to see somebody else more beautiful. You're going to see somebody else that got something else. So it has to be that, but it can't be the ultimate defining reason. Mm-hmm. There has to be substance with it too that adds to all of it. And I think for some other people, it's vice versa, right? It can be, I'm just looking for somebody with good credit. Somebody that got their head on their shoulders. Somebody that's
good
got
credit.
Somebody that's got their head on their shoulders. Somebody who knows what they want and who they're about. And I may not even care about them looking like what's the dude that all the sisters
Brett.
Brett? No. That's his name? Kofi. What's his name?
Kofi. Oh, Kofi.
Is it? Yeah, right? Don't
Sorry.
say it like that.
Okay.
Just say Kofi, right?
Kofi.
He don't have to look like Kofi,
You don't gotta look like Kofi.
you know, for our parents' generation, Denzel Washington, right?
Right.
You don't have to look like that. But if he or she has these certain qualities, and I think as the older you get, that's even something else, right? The older you get, does it change? Does it mean, look, I'm just looking for somebody that got a job, a 401k, and who's not going to be abusive and mean to me?
I think it depends on the person, their experience, what it is that they want. I think it all depends on what they on that person. I don't think it's
a general rule.
Yeah, I think when you're older, maybe I'm sure it changes, right? Because when you're, I don't know, in your early 20s, like the same thing that you are desiring or thinking that is important may not be as important in your 30s or 40s, right? It may look different, completely different, just based off of where you are in life. But I do think that you were saying something and I was just like, oh, yeah, that's good. That I do feel that sometimes our society is so wrapped up in the physical that sometimes we completely miss out on opportunities for people who may not look as Instagram worthy or television worthy, magazine worthy, but their personalities and their character is one that, is, great as well. I don't know.
So the question is, should love be blind? Should it be blind?
I don't think so. I don't think love should be blind. But I do think that there are moments of blindness. You do have periods of blindness where you're completely, because again, to my point, you're so wrapped up in it.
And it's hard because you're going to ask yourself the question, is the blindness worth it? Is it worth looking over certain things because I truly believe in this person?
Now, Crystal, you about to mess us up. Hey, Junie. Junie says some people, when they get older and maybe dating, are only just looking for companionship. Yeah, I definitely think that. I definitely do think that changes. Yeah, that changes, and you may. It looks different in your 20s than it does I'm sure in your 30s and 40s. And I think that's the part about the blindness of love is that some of us are, some people are desperate. And because of this desperation, a need for companionship or a man or a woman that they overlook and see, they don't see what they need to see. Like, I feel like this show is birthed out of desperation where, they usually come on and they say, I've tried everything. I've done this and I've done that and I've dated losers and right? It's almost like these are the people who have tried, they've gone to the ends of the earth and they've tried it all and tried everyone. And then here they are in this space and now they're just like, well, it needs to work, right? It's like this desperation, like it needs to work. And if it doesn't work, oh my gosh, woe is me. And that's for some of them, not everyone. But I think that in terms of the experiment, I don't think it works. I don't think it works as it should work because I think it's really hard to overlook all the other dynamics that play a role in when a woman and a man come together.
Yeah. And Anderson brought us back to reality. And I think this is so true. Can I just say, as someone who works in social media, everything on these platforms are fake relationship goals, gurus, content creators. It's all for social media engagement. Love looks so different for different folks. However, While we romanticize love as believers, we know it's much deeper than just an attraction. Love is supposed to help us grow, evolve, and ultimately help get us into the kingdom.
Facts for that.
And,
Anderson.
Crystal asks, is God's love blind? I believe it surely is.
Mercy.
I believe he loves
Crystal.
me unconditionally. It is an everlasting love. It is an unchanging love. It is even when I mess up, God still loves me, and still continues to shower me with his grace and his mercy.
Now, do you think that our love for God is blind?
I think it should be.
And when we say blind, are we saying blinded by, is sometimes our love blinded in terms of like in a trusting way, right? Like we're blinded by his love, and we trust that we may not see what we want to see, but because God sees it all. Or are you talking about blind in terms of an inability to question God and to say, "Hey, God, do I really love you?" I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to think about like the blindness. Like, what kind of blindness are we talking about? That's why I wanted to talk through.
That is such a good question. Such a good question. It's probably going to need another episode for it, because I'm speaking only for myself. I believe that my love for God is blinding, where I have to wrestle with some of the things that he has said and done, but still lay my head on the fact that he loves me and I love him. So like, there are problematic stories in the Bible. There are problematic verses in the Bible that I've read. And there are things that's happening in the world right now that I have had to put my feelings aside and trust God to a place where I believe he's got everything under control. Because there are questions that I have for God is, why do you allow this to happen? Or why did you allow this to happen? Or why did you say this was okay to do? Why did you say this was okay to do? Right? So I do think that in Christianity, as we profess it, and I think in all religions, even in Judaism, even in the Muslim faith, that there are some blinding, and now like the word blinding is a different, it takes on a different connotation.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
I think there are some things that we have to, that I do personally, is to say, all right, I'm gonna keep trusting you because I believe you have an answer that's going to help me understand my why.
Yeah. That's like, I have to sit with it as I'm trying to process it. As you're talking, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I'm just trying to sit with it and process truly as it relates to our love to God, and how sometimes in action we operate as though it is blinded, right? It's almost like God does not show us red flags. We don't necessarily have red flags, right? When it comes to God's love, we don't have any red flags when it comes to God's love. However, we sometimes operate as though there are red flags where our faith is where we're lacking faith and our inability to trust him in those times.
Right. Because I know, for me personally, I don't know about everybody out there, but when I read the story of the prodigal son, I sometimes resonate with the older brother.
Mercy.
I'm like, yeah, like I've been here all the time.
Right.
Why he get the party in the fatted calf? Like, so I think down low, people, when they read that story, they can't say it out loud. They be
Right.
like, yo,
but you just did.
Yo, older brother, I ain't too mad at you, bro. Like, I feel you.
But that's me. That's me. I'll be the one that be hating.
I am the older brother.
Mercy, Jesus. But yeah, Rodney says, I agree. We have blinding times, but God does also give us evidence at other times.
He does.
Very true. And I think that's love, right?
Yeah.
And if we were to be honest, that would be the blueprint. I think Crystal made mention of that. I think that is the blueprint that we can use to help guide earthly love, like between.
Yeah. And it's like parents too, right? Like, your parent, why you beat me for? Why you gotta beat me? But you still love them, right? There's things that our parents did that we don't understand why they do them, but
Right. Be like, this is a red flag.
right, this is a red flag. You getting that belt, that's a red flag. You waving that slipper at me,
Right.
that's a red flag. The way you talking to me, that's a red flag.
Right.
But as time goes, you still love them.
Yeah.
Right. As time goes on, you kind of understand and you learn. And unfortunately, let me just say this. And I don't even think that example I gave is a good example because humans are so complex and problematic because there may be a child or a person right now who is being abused and they think that's love.
My God.
And they feel like, they grow up thinking
God.
that's how love responds by hitting me, by punching me, that kicking me, right? Abuse. So humans are complex and problematic. And love is complex and it can be problematic in the hands of the wrong person, particularly somebody that you may trust.
Yeah.
And how it's used and abused.
Yeah. Yeah. Because on one hand, to your point, love can look like being in a toxic environment or relationship, right? Someone did make mention of Ressa Tessa, that woman who, I think it was how many things? I think it was like 50. I think it was 50 videos essentially of her experience with her ex-husband and how she just kind of kept ignoring those red flags. And for her, she felt like she was in love, although her intuition was doing this, was flashing, and she ignored, right? But she considered that toxicity love, right? In that moment. Now she looks back and she was like, that wasn't love. But sometimes how we can characterize love, even if it's bad for us, like we can say, yeah, it's hard. I feel horrible, or he makes me feel horrible. She makes me feel horrible. But then I still say that this is love. That's rough.
Love is blind. It'll take all of your mind.
Yeah. Gregory says, but I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you. This is beyond how you may feel about a person, you making a mature choice in spite of.
Emphasis on mature.
Yeah. I was just going to say that a lot of us learned that abuse is love from our parents. Mercy, Jesus. Crystal says, yeah, the misconception of love. That's why the definition of love has to be articulated, but it is so hard because it is so subjective. Yes. That's why we couldn't even answer it.
Yeah.
Because I think love for how we've experienced love may not be how some of you experience it either, right?
It is. And it's different. And I think motive and reason all plays into it as well. Because I know we're quoting scripture and we're, using that because that's, as Christians, most of us on here are, that's what defines how we move. But I'm standing here, I'm thinking if I'm seeing Jesus on the cross hanging, and my brain is probably like, hey, Jesus, get down from there. Why are you taking that abuse for? And then Jesus is like, no, I'm doing this because I love you, because I have to do it. I'm like, I don't want that kind of love. I don't want you to have to hurt and suffer to love me to freedom, right? So it's like,
dang, Jamie.
But we know what his motive was to go through that abuse and that pain for us, as our tradition tells us that without his shedding of his blood, we would not have eternal life. And that was the ultimate sacrifice of love. But at the same time, I would never preach to somebody in an abusive relationship to do that. to sacrifice yourself
Yeah.
just because of love while you
Right.
getting beat up and punched and
Yeah.
stabbed by no human. Like, that's no, what you're telling me, well, I'm trying to be like Jesus. No. Jesus was dying for your sins.
Right.
You ain't dying for nobody's sins.
Nope. So that's how you resolve that. Because I was
Right.
about to ask you, how do you resolve that?
Right. Nah, you ain't dying for my sins.
No, you're not. And especially if you're, being abused in any way, not in that way,
Right.
just in any way.
In any way, verbally or physically.
Mercy. So what I wanted to kind of touch on, for those of you who are watching, how many of you have actually watched this season of Love is Blind? Just put in the comments, be like, I don't know, whatever. How many of you have watched it from, this entire season? Because I want to, this particular, sorry, you want to read that?
No,
Or you're
I
good?
just want to put it up so
Okay.
that folks can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Rodney, you said without reservation. Mm-hmm. Okay. Junie says none of the seasons, you have not watched it. Okay.
Gregory says the social experiment show Love is Blind has worked for those individuals who are ready and truly embrace the journey. There are some folks like Clay from this season was not ready as he may have thought he was.
Yeah. Yeah. Clay is very, I have moments where I'm like almost team Clay. And I think it's because of his honesty and his openness. Although people are viewing it as he's saying the right thing, manipulative and all the things. But I do honor, I want to honor his openness to just say, yeah, I got it wrong, essentially. I think, to your point, Gregory, I think he wasn't ready. It would have been nice if he actually did the work that he speaks, that he did during the course of this year after the show. And I feel like if he did that work, if he did the work, period, I feel as though he would have been so much more ready. He would have been ready to embrace the experiment, to embrace AD in a much better way. I think because he didn't do the work. He just showed up in the space. As a result, he was not ready to say I do to AD. And that for me was completely messed up, what he did. I think if I'm being honest, I don't think anyone was particularly ready. The only people that you kind of say is ready were the ones that got married, was the one couple that got married. I think last season there was only one couple that got married. I think the seasons before, maybe about 3 of them got married. Yeah, I think 3 of them got married. But again, I feel as though they show up in the space. Some of them show up in the space, most of them, without doing the work. And so it's almost like, does the experiment really work? Is love truly blind? Well, it could be if you show up already present to embrace the experiment.
I have no comment. I didn't see it.
Yeah. You saw parts of it.
I saw parts of it, but I didn't see when I only saw them in the pods. I didn't see them post-pod.
Gotcha. Yeah. You were doing the right thing. You were in your word.
Amen.
Oh gosh, you were in the word, but we necessarily did not answer the question, or maybe we did answer the question regarding, is love blind?
Yeah, I think we did. I think it's I think it varies. For some people, they may say it is. I think for most people, we'll say it's not. And that there has to be some seeing and believing and touching and the whole experience before you can actually say that I'm in love with somebody. Right. And I think Adriana said it, is it in love or in like? Right. And I think that a lot of us, I think some people can be in like of someone. Like, I like this, I like that about you, but I don't love everything about you.
Yeah. And it's really easy to be in like with someone And you kind of know when you're in like with someone, if something goes wrong or you get in an argument or you see something and automatically you're just like, forget that person. I'm ready to throw in a towel and give up. I'm not talking about abuse. I'm just talking about something as simple as maybe they decided to, I don't know, instead of letting you, maybe they didn't open the door. Something as simple. They didn't open the door for you or pulled your seat out. Those expectations, missed or failed expectations.
Yeah.
And then you completely go all over the place. Like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to be with this man anymore because he doesn't know my expectations. Da, 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 da. Or I'm living with unmet expectations. I think that's when it's like, where it just kind of
and then
fizzes out.
Some people, they fall in love with the idea of a relationship. They fall in love with the idea of just being with someone.
Yeah,
and those things make room for blinders, right? They make room for if you're just in love with the idea of being in a relationship, and that's a blinder that you may have towards that person, but I think it's also a blinder you have about yourself that you can't address. Why do you feel the need to always have to be in a relationship? And then you're ending up in toxic relationships. So yes, love can be blinding, but love shouldn't be blind.
it should not be blind.
And that's my word for tonight.
Yeah, it shouldn't be blind. You know what I just thought about? I just thought about something.
Dessert?
No, I just thought about something regarding the about the show and how like there was one other problematic couple that came out of being problematic, like with Laura, Jeremy, and something Ann. I don't know her name, but do you remember that quote that you said that you often say that if he did it for you, he's going to do it to you? Is that what it is?
If I did it to get you, I'll also do it to you.
Is that it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's almost like, I don't know. Do you feel like that is love? Like if you did it to get someone, if that's how you did.
No, if I can do this to get you, then I can also do it to you. So if I was in a relationship with somebody else and I dumped them, got rid of them real quick just to get into a relationship with you, because I've done that before, there's no reason why I can't do it to you when I get tired of you. Right? Like and so like, when you look at, and maybe it's not the case all the time, but when you look at like when people are married and they cheat on that spouse and they're in a relationship with somebody else, that person that they cheat with, they probably like, yeah, I got them, they with me. And then 5 or 3 years later, we see sometimes they did the same thing. So it's always, so the saying is like, if I can do it to get with you, I can also do it to you. Don't think that you different.
Right.
That I won't do the same thing.
Yeah.
That I did to get you to go with somebody else.
Is that potential?
Yeah. So basically, yeah, like Adriana says, how do you get them is how you lose them.
Yeah. That right there is, that's rough for sure. That is definitely rough. But yeah, you're right, Rodney. Character is where it's at.
Yeah, that's a red flag. That's a big red flag. If you're willing to walk out of your marriage for X amount of years and you talking about, I want to be with you, that's a character issue right there.
Yeah. My question is, do you think that, I think it's just that potential is going to be luring there.
Right.
That just potential. It may not happen, but it's just that potential to know that if they have the ability to do that, then they have the ability to also do that.
Right. I think we need to do another episode, part 2, about unpacking Clay, because this is going to take another wow. Clay definitely has matured, and I respect his growth. The work he is putting in has showed in the finale. He appeared to be more ready, knowing who you are and knowledge of that is very important. I believe a key ingredient for a relationship. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about this Clay dude, but I think whatever happened, I think it would be good for another episode, maybe a part 2.
A part of the episode, because I do think that what he spoke to regarding the regarding as a black man, and I think as a male, but more so as a black man, and what he saw growing up, the broken home and his father. I think that also has played a role in his approach to marriage and overall. I just think that we can partly talk about him, because I think it would be good to talk about like the black man's or not even black man, just men, the plight of men, and that fear sometimes of taking it to the next level of actually getting married and not being afraid, because it just feels like sometimes that men are a bit more hesitant. Maybe, and this is a generalization I should have made, because some men are hesitant more than they are in comparison to women in terms of approaching marriage. It seems like women are at the base. It seems as though society preps us and prepares us to be ready, versus males. It feels as though it's not the same. So I think that would be great. I think that would be great for us to continue the conversation next week. Yeah.
Lord willing.
God willing. God willing. Yes, his father, I think, is Guy. I know he's definitely of Guyanese heritage. I don't know if Gregory said his father is. Okay. Yeah, I definitely know that he's half Guyanese or something like that.
Okay.
Which has nothing or no bearing on anything. Let's just put that out there. No rumors start, not rumors, but you know how people be like, look at that Jamaican man, or that they must be Guyanese.
Right.
Let's stop it. He's just a man. But anyway, we hope that you guys have a phenomenal week. This has been a great conversation about Is Love Blind? And God willing, we'll see you guys next week. This is Carlene.
This is Jaime.
Peace.
Peace.
3, 2, 1.